Peace be to you all. This is Omar Abdul Malik, physician assistant and health educator. I wanted to speak briefly about this article. This is the FBI charges 50 in scam. The article says celebs, coaches among those named in huge college admission fraud investigation. So this is for those of you all who may have heard about this. This is made national news, especially if you're here in the U.S. It's believed that the U.S. Justice Department, with parents, has found that parents have been accused of paying an estimated $25 million in bribes to get their children into very prestigious colleges. And some of the colleges named were UCLA, Georgetown University, I'm here in Washington, D.C., Stanford, and Yale, among others. And some of the people charged were famous actresses. Lori Logan, if I'm pronouncing that, or Lori Lohan, is accused of paying $500,000 in bribes for her daughters to be designated as recruits for UCLA crew team. And Felicity Huffman is accused of paying $15,000 to have her daughter's answers on the SAT corrected after she took the test. So, it's not funny, but it is funny to me because for those of you all who've been following me for a while, know that my wife and I have got 4 children, 3 of whom are teens, and we're trying to get them into the best colleges possible. I'm spending a lot of money and a lot of time coaching them. We paid for a Kaplan course for 2 of our teens to get coaching on the SATs and just access to what's going to be on the SATs. That's different than just flat out having their answers changed on the SAT after they've taken them, so their scores can go up and they can get into some of the top-notch colleges. That's despicable. This addresses a lot of questions. Somebody asked me to speak about things like affirmative action and different quotas on determinants as to who gets in to top programs. So this kind of addresses that issue. We know, and I say this as somebody who's been on admissions committees at a couple of colleges. We know that certain people may have certain advantages in terms of getting into certain programs at certain colleges. So if you come from a minority group or a group that may be underrepresented, maybe there's a slight advantage. I can tell you this as a black guy, African American, whatever we're being called in this day and age. That only takes you but so far. I say that from experience. You have to have superior grades or a superior skill, so be a top-notch athlete or something to offer the university in order to get in. Flat out having parents that will pay bribes to fake your credentials or cheat to get you in, that's something that I don't think anybody would consider acceptable. It's kind of like there is this idea of legacy in universities. So I'm a Howard University graduate. So that may mean that my children may have somewhat of an advantage if they were to apply to Howard University, because there's a little check box that says, do you have any relatives that have attended and graduated from this university? But again, that only takes you so far. That gives you maybe a micrometer, a thousandth of an inch more than somebody else who's applying to the school. I mean, if you're a major donor to a particular school, that may help you in terms of getting in. But having parents who actually fake your credentials, change your SAT scores, change your grades so that you can get into these top-notch schools. this is what the rest of us, regular people, quote unquote, are competing against. And it turns out that apparently this issue is pretty widespread. That's I don't know if there's anything that can be done about it. It's quite possible that these rich and famous people will go to jail. They'll probably figure out a way to pay their way out of it, do community service or something. But it's something that really bothers me, especially when there's certain groups of people that have said to me, well, you probably got where you are because of affirmative action. And you're like, no, I've worked extremely hard to get where I went to. I worked at McDonald's and as a nursing assistant full time whilst going to school, and still had to produce superior grades and test scores. But I wanted to know what you guys thought about this issue, especially as it relates to school entrance exam. As you know, I'm a physician assistant. Getting into PA school is extremely competitive now. I mean, some of you all have contacted me and you tell me you had a 3.5 GPA, fairly high GRE scores, the good enough direct patient contact hours, and you still don't get into PA school. But then you've got to compete against these people who are bribing admissions directors and other people to get their kids into programs. But what are your thoughts about that? Please be respectful in the comments section. Be respectful to me. If there's any excessive profanity, I'll have to remove your comment. But what are your thoughts about this issue of these parents who bribed colleges to or people at certain within the colleges to get their kids in? Take care.